Welcome to part 7 of your fantasy football pre-draft training series. In this video, I'm going to show you the basic philosophy we'll use when converting our player projections into rankings. I'm going to break down how to do this for each position in greater detail, so don't worry if you feel like you don't fully grasp everything. We've created stat projections, and now we're going to use those projections to create a power rating for each player. The power rating incorporates year-to-year consistency into our rankings, allowing for better predictions. The first thing we'll do is turn our actual stat projections into point projections. To do this, you'll need to know your league's scoring system, but the process is pretty straightforward. If you project a running back to rush for 1,100 yards, for example, his point projection is 1,100 divided by 10, assuming your league awards 1 point for every 10 rushing yards, for a total of 110 projected points. Now we're going to alter that point projection using year-to-year consistency. Each stat has a certain level of consistency from one season to the next. If you multiply your point projections by that level of consistency, you can obtain a power rating that will be more useful than your actual projections for each player. Don't worry about the consistency correlations because I'll provide each one in later videos. Once you add together the revised projected points for each player, you'll have an overall power rating that can be compared to other players at his position. Let's use Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers as an example. Suppose we've gone through the projection methodology and decided to project Rodgers at 40 passing touchdowns in 2013. In a league that awards 4 points per passing touchdown, that's 160 points. Most people would stop right there, but that number isn't much use without knowing how accurately we can predict passing touchdowns in general. If they were totally random, for example, our projections would be completely useless. The year-to-year correlation for passing touchdowns is around 0.6 or 60%, meaning around 60% of a quarterback's passing touchdowns carry over from season to season, and the rest regress toward a league mean. By multiplying our original projected points for Rodgers' passing touchdowns, 160, by the consistency correlation, 0.6, we've calculated Rodgers' passing touchdown rating. Once we perform the same task on each of Rodgers' stat projections and add up the results, we'll have Rodgers' overall power rating. It's important to note that the rating is no longer an actual projection of how many points Rodgers will score, but it's actually more useful than projections. The reason for that is because projections are worthless without some understanding of predictability. Traditional projections and rankings are all counted the same, failing to account for risk. My power ratings have consistency and risk already factored into the mix, meaning they're more accurate than traditional projections. On top of that, they also lead to a better representation of scarcity within each position. Scarcity is something I'll discuss later, but it refers to how much different players deviate from one another within the same position. Understanding scarcity is essential on draft day, but it's not accurately represented in traditional projections and rankings. In the next video, I'll show you the rest of the quarterback consistency correlations, and we'll create an entire quarterback power rating. Thanks again for tuning in to the FantasyKnuckleheads.com Fantasy Football Pre-Draft Training Series.